Welcome to the State of Developer Education, a podcast by Major League Hacking. We explore how technical leaders are creatively tackling the developer education gap to help prepare the next generation of technologists for the real world and build businesses that can adapt to any changes in the technology ecosystem. I'm your host, John Gottfried. Hi, everyone. I'm John, host of the State of Developer Education. In this episode, I'm talking with Nikita Koselev, who is a developer community builder, works on a lot of different interesting projects. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm so good. It's like for the last few months, every time you ask me how I'm doing during the day, I will say much better than before, and then it will keep just growing. It's like I'm life in a movie these days. It's like, yeah.
I love it.
But we'll speak more about it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining me. I'd love to start off. I always like to ask folks about how they got started in tech. So, going way back in time, what got you into software engineering in the first place?
Hunger? No, I'm from a family which became extremely poor during the Soviet Union collapse. So I tried yogurt when I was 15 because it was a luxury. I know what the chocolates look like when they're 6 months due, and that's actually a luxury because now you can have a chocolate. And I know what orange juice looks like when it's like 5 months after. We never tried that one, not so. And I remember picking the cheapest potatoes in the market because buying potatoes in the supermarket, so I'm in the open market, is a luxury, like beyond your belief. So I had a choice. I had a university, and I only like computers, and I wanted to survive. And I wanted to help my parents. And now I don't give a monkey about computers. Now I'm only care about people and nature, environment around them. But I was young, stupid, more than now, and I cared about. I wanted to do computers, and I wanted to do finance.
Interesting.
And
like, when you got started, had you ever done anything with computers in high school or middle school, or was college like the first exposure?
My father is a very prominent software lead. Mm-hmm. He worked with Soviet computers, like serious stuff, like acoustics processing and stuff. Like I cannot talk much about that, but although it's not classified anymore, I guess. And then he became, as many Estonian officers who were part of Soviet army, he became somebody else. So he became a teacher, but even there, he couldn't just sit there. He became the best in Estonia. And he was doing what you are doing now when it wasn't a trend. So he was building teams. Like in ordinary schools, he was building teams around the projects like Soros Foundation. Yeah. Like I think it's called ION or something like this. So he was telling like everybody can do something in the project. So let's see. So you like computers more. So you write HTML if you want to. And so you want to, your English is better than others, so you like enjoy it, for example. So you'll do that. Oh, you like checking information, so you can go to library and bring us sources. So like everybody had a role. And the more I think about it, the more it makes sense now because it's like how it should be. No wonder that his students did so well, always. And yeah. So I'm just stealing and changing other people's ideas.
That's what they say good artists do, right?
Geniuses. Good artists, they copy. Geniuses steal. I'm not sure I'm a genius, but I don't have enough data for that. Time will show.
Yeah.
In a way, I am. In survival way. Oh, yeah. That's.
So your father was in the field and you went into it kind of out of necessity. It sounds like you've become a little bit disillusioned with it.
Yeah, when you cannot afford buying food, then that's a necessity. Yeah.
Where are you at with it today? Like, what do you work on now?
Oh, it's mostly classified, more or less. I cannot really tell, but it's not military, but it's. And now I cannot talk about this part. And as I said, I cannot even mention where I work, although you can Google. And I'm quite happy that my company takes public interest so high, and they explain them so well to people that I'm aware that I cannot really talk about it. Let's say finance, more or less. Finance, mainframes, that stuff. But that's like, I won't say it's the boring stuff. I will say it's the peak of the iceberg. Because most of the stuff, like 99%, what I'm known for, I'm doing when the sun sets.
So, like what?
Oh my God, now we're starting. So right now you see a picture of a person who's in clinical depression. Over a year ago, I was, so I'm getting off the meds. So actually last pill was like a month ago. So if I start crying, it's okay. It's okay not to be okay. And I had like one day till suicide, like a few years ago. I don't remember the date. And then I did this math in my head, and I thought that, okay, let's just think about it. So currently you think it's the best solution, but what if you're wrong? It's a irreversible decision. So let's just check with professionals. And apparently I was wrong. And then after that, when I was like trying to find why should I leave, I realized that, well, basically at my current work, what I thought I was doing, which is not true, but still, I'm transforming salary into food, into non-food substance. That's not something I want to be on my gravestone. I don't want to have a gravestone, to be honest. I would prefer C, but anyway. And then I thought, okay, I need to find something which I really loved in this life to the point. And I spent like half a day lying on the bed. And by the way, clinical depression is when you cannot, in my case, when you cannot lift a finger. That's a clinical for a day. Anyway, so I've realized that, and I'm also diagnosed with autism now, extremely highly functional, like the best of the best. So, but 80% of people with autism, they don't have a job. So I'm very grateful, and I have to speak for them now as well. I cannot speak for them, but at least I can make their problems visible and challenges. So, and then I realized that when I help somebody, I remember it for like 40 years. I'm 40, so, and I remember things I did for people before, good things for like 40 years. So that's the only thing which brings me pleasure. Yeah, and my autistic superpower. And then I realized that, well, I can go to a charity shop and I will enjoy it. It's a good shop. It's a good job. There are two problems with it. First, it's not scalable. So let's say I can only feed 100 people with soup per day. And I think it's not that easy to get into soup kitchens, to be honest. There's a queue. And second is that I won't be using my IT knowledge. So I started thinking, and then my friends from London Java community helped me with a few tickets. And then a speaker at Lead Dev helped me. I think Lead Dev in London. So then a few more people, and I was stealing openly ideas. I have honor, but I still. And I combined a lot of ideas. But before it started, I realized that education, that we have 8 billion populations, and most of them cannot afford going to MIT. Most of them cannot afford going to Oxford. And I started thinking, what can I do for these people? What can I do for those friends from, let's say, Zimbabwe? Well, I wasn't specific at this time. I was just searching. It just happened that there's a reason for which it happened, that the first community I found was Open Source Africa. There's a reason for that, but I was very troubled with people who are in a bad situation, and they're willing to change something. They're willing to do something, but they don't have, I thought they don't have many leaders there. That's not true. There's Outreach, for example. They are amazing. There are other initiatives. I'm sure MLH, I think it's MLH or MHL? Major Hacking Creek?
MLH, sure, yeah, you got it.
MLH. I'm sure like if I start Googling you and community, there will be enough. I mean, I know it because your hackathons will be online and stuff, but I didn't know it when I started creating. So in May, I had this mission to, initially it was to bring people to IT. It changed. It's kept focusing and focusing and focusing. But in May, I had 8 people subscribe to me on Twitter. Like May this year. Now today it's 2,200 something. Wow. And 500 in the last month. And I cannot even afford to specialize in it. I'm like that different things. And I created Meetup because two friends came and asked to explain them what I mean by open source after some tweet. And one was from, they both were from Northern Africa. One was from Tunisia, I think, is it Northern Africa? And another one I don't remember, but I think it's Egypt, somewhere close. And they asked me, and I explained them, and it was quite surprising because at least one of them, both of them were strong in Java. One of them was exceptionally strong in Java, and he was going to like wait 12 years more before his first contribution. And I was like, and he was asking like when she should start, and I was like, yesterday would be, but like today is okay as well, because it's so easy. People don't know how strong you are. People don't know people just don't see it. All I do, I'm like opening dice. It might sound like very selfish, but that's all I do. My credo is like, you already know enough. Just now let's show you. And everybody has a strong side, like everybody. And then started changing, because I have one principle. I built my so-called, I built my path about the person, not about myself. And then quite fast, I realized that just open source contributions, so just open source, it's not specific enough, and it's not good enough. And just Java is not good enough because, oh my God, there's 200 million projects. Then it became like, initially it was started with like MIT or Oxford competition kind of. And by the way, I respect those institutions, but they have limited budgets. They're doing so much, especially MIT in the world of accessible education. If you just check OpenEdX, MIT will be all over the place, but they need help. Everybody needs help. Well, I'm helping them. And then I realized that, well, open source is huge. And then it changed to NASA project stuff. Let's do something cool. So it became something dragging people out of depression, because there is no one. I didn't want people to die, because I'm happy here, but there are 5 Nikitas dead somewhere. Yeah. And that's not nice. Well, no, it's not nice. And then it became help people to have fun. Like, not many people know, but you can open NASA GitHub account, like NASA with the rockets. And you can open, for example, the mission control center there, which looks beautiful. And you can start contributing to NASA in 5 minutes time. You don't even need to commit. You just need to write a tweet. And that's a contribution enough, because most of the population of the Earth, 99.999, have no idea what open source is, or at least that NASA is there. So now you just created a few superstars in the future, few people who will create those small islands of peace and financial stability around them. Yeah. So, and they will spend money, and some baker will send some cool baker will send his or her daughter to Oxford. So it's like a chain reaction. And now it's becoming different. So then it became find a job. Before the Ukraine happened, like this politics around the area. And I'm not an expert in politics, but I'm quite an expert in helping people. So I just left this for politics. Like, I pay taxes, you take care of that. I will help as many people as I can. I'm busy helping people. So and now it's because of financial situation. Currently, my focus is on how to earn money with open source. Because if you try LinkedIn Premium and you change your location to New Delhi, and you change it to remote jobs, and you try to find junior job, good luck. If it's not a junior job, if it's just a web developer, then you can expect from 200 to 1,200 applications just on LinkedIn. Yeah. So what I'm telling people is like, don't waste your time. Like, there's no point. It's a very bad lottery. You don't even know this position exists. So LinkedIn, 1,000, few other systems, few more thousands. That's a very bad lottery. So instead, let's find a way how you can earn now and how you can build your brand. So that's what I'm doing now, building. And also, I have a friend. Her name is Yaroslavna Nishinskaya, I think. Let's check. Yeah. So she builds teams for hackathons, like in mass on scale. So she really helps me there, because I don't have time for that anymore. And she does it better than me. So if she becomes a CTO, I would be happy to work under her command. Not if, when she becomes a CTO. Yeah, so I can keep speaking about this stuff till next morning. So easy.
So it sounds like you have a lot of different ways that you help people. I'm curious,
Mhm.
like you've talked about, learning these technical skills, right? Like open source or other technical skills can create a lot of opportunity for people. How do you actually help them to learn those skills? Like, what are the things that they should do to start down that
Look,
path?
they should come to me. And that's it.
Then what
But
happens?
actually, there's one thing they should do, and I have only one condition only. You must care about something. I personally don't care what it will be. Well, of course, if it's like military stuff, killing people, then I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I'm not helping here. Go to those politicians who I'm paying taxes for. They're smarter than me. Let them do that. I'm not sure about smarter, by the way. But as long as you care about anything, so although I don't care about IT anymore, comparing to people, I don't care about IT or open source. IT is my favorite field because, and IT is, and open source especially, because it's projections of the real world. As long as you care for something good, like for example, Yaroslavna, she cares about helping people in charity. So she's been to UK. She's just a good example. I'll keep bringing her. She's been to UK like 8 times, and she worked in charity shops for like 8 times. So when we came to her with her to a hackathon, which was about social cause in the United States, in half an hour time, we had a call with her friend who runs charities in UK. Friend was on vacation. So that shows something. So we were building something built on a real problem. So we were creating an app which shows which shows vulnerable and hungry people their food distribution places which still have enough food, because in this area, in this, how to call it, helping people in charity area, as this man just said, one of the worst feelings you can experience is that when you're running a soup kitchen and people come there and you say there's no soup, and they say we've been walking for 6 miles, 10 kilometers one way. So we wanted to stop. We wanted person to go to right direction. Yeah, and we did it. Not the whole application, but still 4th place. Major hack and leak, I think. No, sorry, that was a Metro hack. Yeah, I'm mixing them. So yeah, sorry, what was the original? Oh, yeah.
Like I guess the question is, like, someone comes to you for help and they says, I want to, maybe they want to get into IT, maybe they just want to learn these skills as a means to an end.
Then
How do they get started? Like, what should they do?
if they come to me and they say I want to get an IT, I will ask one question, like, really, are you absolutely sure you want to get in IT? Because a lot of people come to me and they say I want to do open source. There was one case when a person came to me, a good friend, and he said, I want to live in London, I want to do finance. And my question was, do you? Because I don't want to hurt people. Often people want something which they say they want something which they don't want at all. So this person, for example, I asked him if he reads Financial Times to his grandmother in the evenings, and he didn't. And then I say, look, you live, I think it was Nigeria, so you probably have a big family there. So in 20 years' time, if you succeed, you'll be living in a small flat in the center of London, most probably with no friends because it's London, most probably hating your job because you never loved finance in the first place. And probably you'll be alone, and most probably you'll be cut off from your family in Africa. And by the way, you won't be that rich because real estate in London, well, good luck. Are you sure you want it? And I could see how his face went pale. And I was like, okay, now let's talk about what you do at your normal life. What is you enjoy doing most? And he was enjoying most explaining to his friends how molecular chemistry works and quantum mechanics. And I was like, so you live in one of the largest populated countries with the hugest demand for education. Demand for education in this world is huge. And you want to exchange, and you obviously are talented, because if somebody can explain this stuff to an average student, not in terms of like, I'm not sure mind skills exist or IQ, but people have different strengths. And if he can explain it to people of mixed strengths, then he's good. And I was like, okay, let's park this idea of London and finance for now. Let's actually check EDX. We checked, and EDX on open source, it doesn't exist. It's small, it's tiny. But then we found OpenEDX, and this thing is huge. So there's OpenEDX, there's this one, Free Code Camp. There's a ton of stuff there. I'm sure if I check, you will be there. And to be honest, these days I will say go to MHL, because that's the, well, I cannot yet explain why, but I think you are in the exactly right space, exactly right spot, because then we'll cut off all the stuff like courses. You don't need to do courses. You need to do stuff which matters. Courses might help, but usually they are not enough efficient for me.
Yeah.
And then we'll see. Basically, that situation, as you said, food. For example, somebody doesn't have food, then, and I will say, look, let's park NASA for some time. You need food. So a friend of mine from Northern Ireland, she got scammed. She's from India. Her family really wants her to come back and get married and forget all the ladies working at home thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so how much money you got? Less than for a month. I'm like, okay, let's park the whole IT thing for now. You go out of a house and let's find you a job. And she was like, oh, there are no jobs. Like, really? How do you search? Oh, internet, Google. No, forget it. You go to the high street and you check the windows. And if it says required, then you go in and you check. And next day she's like texting me, you know what? I checked 3 shops and the third one, they needed somebody and she got a job. So now she's doing technical writing. Currently she parked it because she's doing Christmas stuff and the load is high. So I told her that her priority is to survive. She's very good in technical writing. And if you need a technical writer, she's one of the best. Her first post got like 400 likes. I never had anything close to it even now. She's good. And yeah, so it all depends on what you really need, not what you say you need, what you need. Sometimes it will be the same, but most often not. So I'm sorry, I might show you what you really need. No, I'm not. I will show you what you really need. And I will tell you that the recipe I'm giving you, I can guarantee you one thing, it's wrong. I can absolutely guarantee you the project we'll choose for you and the way you'll contribute is absolutely wrong. But you will pick up momentum. You will get a vision which will allow you to focus and focus and focus and pick up and more momentum and spend less and less time and create more and more impact. Because I'm very strict on focusing and spending less time. So yeah, stuff like that. So you can call it magic, but it works.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think technology is a means to an end, right? Like it can be a way to make money. It can be a way to make impact. It can be a way to solve problems. You know, it's not necessarily the goal in itself, right? Like software is not a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a tool. And so I think a lot of people hear about software engineering and they're like, this is something I want to do, but they don't necessarily have a specific goal in mind that they want to accomplish. They just understand that it's a really powerful tool that they want access to. And so I think that's part of what drives people down that path where they're like, they see people who have this successful life or have made this impact and they want to follow in their footsteps. And, you know, I don't know, it's different for every person.
No, it's good. That's why I like talking to friends like yourself, because I think your perspective is right, but it's wrong because the bigger picture is much worse than you think. Because you were talking about people who think IT is like how did they call it? So they who think that IT is a good thing for them to do, and they don't know why, but they think it's a good thing. The problem is much bigger. Most of the people I've met, they think they cannot do IT. Right. And that's the real problem. So people who can be very good in our area, which is mostly everybody, and that's another problem. Like, what should I do when I make everybody a really cool IT contributor? Like, well, maybe it's a good thing. But the problem is that so many absolutely brilliant people, they don't go to IT. I just had maybe a month ago, I had a call with maybe a friend, not maybe, it was Africa. I'm not sure which community it was, maybe SOS, but they were discussing internships in Africa, and that's a huge problem. So they were like discussing how many people per place, and then you need to suck it up and stay strong and so on. And I said that I'm extremely against it. I respect everybody, but I'm extremely against it. So let's do open source. But I think I met this person there. Then we meet another meetup, and she was like, "Oh, I applied to Outreach, and then I pulled my application away because I think I'm not worthy." And I'm like, "Okay." So you live in, I think it was either Kenya or Nigeria. Let's make it Kenya. So you live in Kenya. You learned yourself. You taught yourself enough to get into support job in IT in Kenya, which is not a walk in the park, because so you need to be extremely proactive to get such a quality job in this area, and very smart. And you know internet on the level of DNS, how DNS works, and you are going to you're set to improve this knowledge, and you know that and that. You know what, friend? I've never seen anybody more worthy of Outreach than you, or almost never. So you know what? Next time you see it, apply. And then a few days after, she calls me, she texts me and says that she got a job. She had an interview, and she went there, and she felt very calm, and she knew her strengths now. And then later they called her and said, "You're hired, and you're hired because we liked how confident you are in your skills. You're not blowing them, like, oh, I'm so cool. No, you know what you know, and you're honest about it, and you're confident." And I'm like, okay, that's not exactly, that's a little bit fast, but, and then Outreach opened the applications. So I'm not sure about now, but if you really should Google friends. Outreach, they're amazing. They're
It's a really cool program.
Yeah, really cool program. So well, check with MHL. They help those the most underrepresented ones, and they have limited budgets, so unfortunately they cannot onboard everybody. But when they can, they pay $7,000 in 3 months for this amazing person to work on open source projects that matter. Because there are many that don't, but they do. And then, well, your life is pretty much improved.
Yeah, we actually run a similar program that's a little bit like different in scope, called the MLH Fellowship. And it,
oh my God,
I don't know, like there's a lot of programs like that, right? Like our fellowship, Outreachy, Google Summer of Code, and they have an enormous impact on the people who participate. Like they really can be life-changing experiences.
Can we do one thing? Because I'm also part of, as I mentioned before, London Java community, which is not London and it's not Java, it's community. So friends listening to it, if you like fishing, come to us, like the one with the rod. If you like jiu-jitsu, come to us. So whatever, like there's space for everybody. But it will be really nice to learn about this fellowship program. Yeah. So if you message me in LinkedIn, let's make it happen. Okay. No, I mean, it will happen. And it will be nice for people in London to know. I'm not sure if is it like worldwide or is it?
Yeah, it's virtual.
No, I mean the program itself, the fellowship. Is it worldwide?
Yeah. We have students
like
from
certain countries,
like 30 or 40 countries.
Wow, that's good. Because I was going to say that even if it wasn't, we'll just slightly change it. We'll say that how to build a program and why. Yeah. So, and now actually it will be how to build a program and why. And it will be nice.
That's cool. I appreciate that.
What we need. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you that like a lot of developers have like imposter syndrome, like you're describing, right? Like they don't think they're capable of it. And getting over that like psychological hump is very difficult when you're starting out.
I love imposter syndrome. I absolutely love it because it's what everybody has. Yep. And it's your weaknesses which allow you to connect. If you check, I think it's called Imposter Learns IT. Yeah. You'll find you'll find a friendly face there. So what I thought that from now on, when I learn Golang or something, I'll just switch on the screen, because I've seen a lot of like courses, not courses, like videos, like somebody builds, Linux in 5 hours time while studying Japanese and traditional Chinese and getting a black belt in karate. And then I've seen streams. Well, I've seen the result, but I've seen, let's say, a few years ago, a lady started and she was like asking people what the 4 cycle is, and she was struggling into it. But there's difference now. So people who are doing this jiu-jitsu thing, they're still doing it. And this girl is a developer advocate, somebody very at the top, because she was honest and true.
Yeah.
So I want people to see that learning IT is not, it takes time and effort. And most of all, it actually only needs your consistency.
Yeah.
So as long as you do it every day, or like every be consistent, it will happen. So I thought I will never learn Golang. Now I know a little bit, and I will know more. It's for me, it's a privilege now, because I always have to choose: should I do Golang even openly, or should I research something to help the community? So it's like a battle which inside me. So it's and I need Golang because it's the easiest way to get jobs, the quality jobs, as I understand. Remote jobs, it's Golang, and containers, which is Golang, Docker, which is in Golang, and Kubernetes, which is in Golang, and a lot of stuff around it, the whole ecosystem. So, and I cannot tell people that go and use this project to earn money unless I've done it. So when I will do it, I will be able to tell that go for, like, example, Elastic. Well, Elastic is an exception. They have like an amazing program for people. But I would prefer to learn how to earn myself. It doesn't matter how much, maybe $1. It's okay, but then I can tell people, look, it works.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people I'm helping, they will be in very interesting situations when you need to choose your means very carefully. And I cannot, I've already saved one person from a bootcamp for 20K, I need to put people, I put people first. Don't think I do that. I don't burn out. No, I'm trying to get something in return. So currently I'm thinking how to make money with all this stuff without putting people at like privileged, non-privileged things. So the best I have invented so far, I think, of creating a newsletter for $1 per month or something, and it will only collect. I will collect information from my tweets, but then 1 month after, I will make it publicly available on Dev2.
Yeah.
So this way, I won't, because for some people, $1 is a lot of money. Yeah. For many people, actually, you'll be amazed for how many people, and maybe even in UK, unfortunately. And this way, I will be able to pay for my mobile phone, maybe, if I'm very optimistic, because people, for example, people look at you, John, and they think you're smiling and life is easy, but they are not there when you're modifying those videos. They're not there when it's 2 o'clock in the morning on Monday, and you have to fix this processing file, this exact place where Nikita was slurping tea from the cup next to the microphone, jetty one, and you need to remove it for some reason, because I would rather not, because
there's a lot of hard work behind the scenes to make things successful. Like, I think that like people who are new don't see that. They see the end result and it looks like magic, but they don't see what it took to get there and how much people struggled and doubted themselves. And like, I think that's one of those things where like the media around technology makes it look like much more of a talent than a skill. It's not like it's learnable. It's like anything else.
That's what I'm fixing.
I think it's really important. I mean,
people think it's about and as I said, I'm very autistic, so if I like interrupt you, just tell me.
That's okay.
So people think it's about talent or skill. I would say none of those is true. They can think about it and they can believe it in. I would say it's still about care, as long as you care. And those listening to it, if you don't know IT, the less you know, the better it is, because you are blessed with this knowledge, because you can start now and you can record a very authentic experience of a person becoming better in IT now. If John tries to imitate you or I try to imitate you, it won't work. How on earth should I know that my friends in Gambia, they have 100 kilobit connection and the edit mode in their GitHub doesn't work because they have 4 gigabyte notebooks or whatever. So we will never know it. So we'll give instructions that, oh, look, just press this E key on the keyboard and GitHub page will start modifying it in the browser. Just press a dot and Visual Studio Code will open in your Chrome browser. It won't. You're in Gambia. Welcome to the real world. But what you need to understand when you're beginning the IT, and the earlier you understand it, the better it is. I don't think that any person in the world can, and I'm thinking of Linus Torvalds at the moment, can make a bigger impact in IT than being a visible leader, a visible person who shares. Because you can be a girl from a village in Nigeria. That's a very good start. It's not you learning, let's say, JavaScript. It's thousands of girls who see you as a role model. It's thousands of girls who understand that it's okay to be CTO if you're female. It's how it should be. It's okay for a female to earn a lot in IT. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
And same for boys. So if it's a boy from a work-class family from England, and we have programs who help people, but sometimes these boys are from some researchers I've seen, they show that sometimes, for example, white boys from working-class families, they're not covered from programs.
Yeah.
Which for me means that we need to have more programs. Well, now if one of these boys starts doing chess thing, and ideally, like what I will support, then he starts creating connections with other groups, especially the underprivileged ones, underserved. So black boys, black girls, with Asian groups, with LGBTQ plus friends, because I personally love learning from these groups most, because these people they've been through shit. You can cut it out, but I would suggest you don't, because if you're
marginalized groups,
if you're a lady, I don't need to explain you what glass ceiling is in IT. If you're a black person, I don't need to explain you that. When I was living in Croydon, those who are in London, they know what it is. It's a very diverse part of London, and people living there, they're hardworking and they're often not paid well. So when I was taking a train from there to central London to work at one of biggest banks there, I could see how the train is becoming quieter. And I was taking an elevator to the floor number 12. I couldn't see black people there at all. And some of my friends who are black, they're extremely good developers, extremely good IT people, the best of the best. So something in between is missing. I'm fixing it. I'm making it bloody visible. I'm autistic. I can say whatever I want, and I'm using my autism now as a tool. I'm saying that I don't know your feelings. It's hard for me to calculate, so I will just say what I think is the truth. And if it's wrong, let me know. So I think the situation currently in industry is not normal, and there's a lot to fix, especially around underserved communities, especially black and especially women, and especially LGBTQ+. I don't remember seeing ever a LGBT plus person in a CTO. And this is a very big problem, because when you solve these things which are slowing them down from reaching positions they deserve, you will also you will also destroy the barriers which are slowing down the majority. So that's why I feel a bit dishonest, because it's not a selfless help.
Yeah.
Initially, I thought it's selfless, but the more I do it, the more I see that this way everybody benefits. Because if we get the best person to the CTO level, the whole company will benefit.
Yeah.
And by the way, tens of thousands of girls will see that it's normal. Now it's not a girl from Nigerian village. Now it's a girl from the capital. And this girl is rich, and she is rich for doing something very well. And this very well is using her brains to bring good to the community. So look at the Angie Jones, for example, my absolute star. Oh my God, Angie Jones is so good that I bought YouTube Premium to listen to her lectures while I drive, not lectures, to talks, because I couldn't find time. Yeah. And sometimes I'm very cheap with money. I don't like, so me paying for YouTube Premium, this thing doesn't happen. But with Angie Jones, it did. For those who don't know, go and Google it now. Put it on pause. John is amazing. I'm doing well, but if you need to remember one name out of 3, remember Angie. The last time I checked, she had 12 plus patents,
Wow.
I think she has her own company. She's a huge person in, I think it's Girls Who Code or Black
Yeah.
Girls Who Code in States. I think she's first ever Java champion who is a black lady. This person, she destroyed mountains. So just if I can help in something she's doing, that's more than enough. So that's why we need more Angie Joneses. With all respect to her, but we need more.
Yeah. I mean, it is really it's really important for people to have like aspirational figures, right?
Yeah.
To see people who look like them and have similar
Yeah, yeah.
experiences that they can look up to and learn from. And I think it's missing for a lot of folks
Yeah,
around the
that's true.
world, especially when you think about things in a totally global sense. So we only have a couple of minutes left here.
Oh,
Well, one thing I always like to end on that I think is kind of like almost like a fun, interesting thought experiment question. Like when you think about people in the world who are creating technology, like living or dead, kind of figures in the field, who would you most want to like spend some time with and have lunch with and just talk to?
alive people who are alive or people who are dead?
Both, either one.
Okay, if the dead one, then just out of top of my head, I saw your question before, but this name never came, and now it came. Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
He died for stuff, and even if he didn't die, it wouldn't have changed his impact in terms of like what he did. It's amazing.
Yes.
And alive people, the list is long, but let's be honest, Angie Jones,
Why?
and because she's Angie. Because I don't even need her to talk. She can have her lunch, and I will feel how the world is becoming a better place around her and way beyond she can see. So yeah.
I love that. I think I saw her speak recently. It was very
She's so
impressive.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's good.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Nikita. I really appreciate you, joining me. And thank you everyone for listening. If you enjoyed it, feel free to, subscribe and look out for other episodes. Where can people find you and find what you're working on? Do you have Twitter or blog that you want to shout out?
I have everything because my passion is people. My tag, I would suggest, it depends on what you want to achieve. My Twitter is for people. My LinkedIn is for filling the gap between companies and people. And this gap is awfully big. And I'm just investigating it, but it's like there's no bottom there. It's better, sorry. And currently I'm thinking, I have an Instagram and TikTok, and I'm thinking what to do with Instagram and TikTok because my IT there is not popular. People don't understand it. So I think that I'll probably just start sharing good thoughts, like how people should behave. Like the last thought which I found was, what do women value in men in the relationship? I think it actually goes for all genders there. It's when you are naturally kind towards her. When you are naturally kind, which means you care for the person, then the person starts liking you. It might happen. Of course, you cannot, everything can be perverted, but given that you both like each other and then you care, then well. So I just thought that maybe, so yeah, go Twitter to start with. I started Twitter. I actually went to Twitter because a lot of my subscribers, they live in countries where Twitter pays and LinkedIn doesn't. Unless you go on LinkedIn teaching people, I don't know how that works, but generally speaking, it doesn't. So, and I have people whose life is, I have friends whose life is tough.
And what is your Twitter handle?
Nikita Koselev.
Okay.
So that's what I teach people. Like, I don't want your Twitter handle to be a butterfly lady or something. With all respect to ladies and butterfly, it's your name. You need to be proud of it, and it's your trademark. So it's something your parents gave it to you. So be proud of it. Let's use your name. Twitter, because a lot of people around the world, they need money, and I want to help them to buy milk for their kids. So LinkedIn, I love you, friends, but you really need to do something about it. That's not exactly fair. I'm sure your life is also tough, but if somebody living in Nigeria or in India or in Pakistan, could earn a little bit from the advertising which you are showing on their pages using their content, that would be fair. Because I have friends who don't have a mobile phone, they cannot afford it, they don't have a computer, they have so I know a person, he's a very big DevRel now. His father took a loan to get him a $200 computer because he accumulates all money from the family and took a loan.
Yeah.
And he's a true hero. So LinkedIn, can we do something about it? Like really, that will be the best Christmas present ever. And if you need help from me, then I'm all in. And maybe free. Of course it will be free. Come on, for this kind, I will be free.
I like it. That's a good note to end on. So thank you very much again, and happy hacking. The State of Developer Education is brought to you by Major League Hacking, or MLH. To find out more about MLH and how we power innovation, cultivate developer communities, and teach technical skills to students around the world, visit mlh.io. And then make sure to search for Developer Education in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. On behalf of the team here at MLH, thanks for listening and helping us empower the next generation of technologists. Happy hacking!